Yes, it is a good morning. It's a creative morning. Good morning and welcome. Welcome, welcome. I know we have a lot of special guests this morning, and I just want to acknowledge Joy Goodman came in with some special friends. We wanted to acknowledge you as well while you're here. So, good morning and welcome. grateful. Good morning. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Grateful, so grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share. Yes, we do. The life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. So grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Yes, the love of God is here.
Good morning! You may be seated. Where have y'all been? I've been here 3 weeks and nobody showed up. I'm back. Hey. Oh, I'm so happy. I want to extend my gratitude to the incomparable, soon-to-be, in how many months, Reverend Lane Morgan, for an exemplary job. And I heard you liked Esther as well. So very, very cool. So thank you so much for doing such a beautiful job. And these guys here, what can I say? I went to Turkey, which is the land of our drummer, Imran Kotan. I actually went to his hometown in Izmir, and there is a statue of him. I had no idea he was so famous. And I love your country. And we love you. So don't go back. Thank you. It's just such a joy to be here. And I'm thrilled for the fact that we have created remarkable systems and remarkable people who keep this locomotive train going, known as Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. And so here's the conductor himself, David Aurelio.
Well, we had a party.
I heard you had a kegger.
We had a kegger. No, but I loved being up here so much that I decided I'm going to sit on the piano for the rest of the time. I told everybody I was going to do it. I'm sitting on the piano for the rest of the service.
Fine.
It's kind of like the share thing.
Got it.
Yeah. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center that recognizes everyone on their spiritual path, and we know we're a great place of inspiration that allows you to tap into your inherent greatness and to live the life you love. And we do so many ways. As Reverend David said, there's nothing, it's never dull around this place. So there's always something going on, something we're facilitating, but it's almost the end of the month. So you'd think we'd be resting? We're not. Lots of stuff happening this week. I'm going to make you aware of it, but then we've got lots of stuff happening right after the holidays. So rest up, party on for the holiday, and then we got some stuff going on. But let me tell you what's happening this week. Wise women, you're meeting today. So if you are wise women, if you are a wise woman, and you want to join those ladies, please join them right after the second service in the first classroom. Additionally, I've been teasing about the animal blessing. That's going to be on September the 19th, where if you can bring your pets here, we are going to bless them, and we're going to honor them and the role they play in our lives. But we're going to meet with the volunteers today. So Lane sent out a beautiful email to those volunteers who signed up. We're going to meet with you right after the second service right in here. So we'll kind of walk through the event and how it's going to flow, and then let you know what your role will be in that day. And then we'll let you all know that later. Practitioners, your monthly meeting is on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, so please be prompt for that, and because you guys have lots of stuff to discuss. And also that same night at 6 o'clock, right before that, is Tai Chi. Now, Baji had the introductory session last week to the series, And now the series begins for 4 weeks. It's $35 for the whole series, or you can pop in and out if you like at $10 a session. So please see Baji if you have any questions about that. Now Wednesday, we can't even rest around here. Every night there's something. So Wednesday, we've got the finale of Super Soul Summer. And that is, if you've been studying the book E Squared, that's where we all get together here for the last class. So there's all the different groups. There's going to be well over 100 and some people here for that last class. We're going to do a potluck prior. So if you can join us about 6 or 6:15 with the dish you'd want to share, we'll leave it in the kitchen, and then we'll have tables set up all over this area for us to eat, and then we'll start class promptly at 7. If you've been studying on your own, if you signed up late and you just bought the book and you're doing all the energy experiments on your own, you are welcome to join us as well, because that last class is kind of a finale, and we want you to be a part of it. So Wednesday night, please join us for that, for the potluck at 6 show. Class at 7, make it a show, will you? So the class at 7, so that'll be great. We'll get that started, and then the following week we're into real classes, the classes that are starting live in person. So I've been teasing that also, that the brochure for all the classes out in the hallway, please take that, start signing up. The books are there. Scheherazad's got everything you need for all your class needs. The first class starts the following Wednesday on the 9th. That's Beyond Limits with Lane Morgan. And so Lane sends out an introductory email to everybody who's pre-registered. So if you want to get all that pre-registration information from her, please sign up today or as early as next week as you can. So we've got that. Now we've got a few more volunteers needed for the kids. I've been asking for the nursery. I still need volunteers for the nursery. And I'm also hearing that we need some volunteers for the young teens. That's the 12, 13, 14. So if you are interested in that age range of teens, please let me know, or you can see Mary Jane. And there are any first-time visitors joining us for the very first time today. If you could join, could you raise your hands? We've got gifts for you. Welcome gifts, please there. And is there anyone else back there? Yes, back there. Welcome to all of you. Let's give them a round of applause. What you can do is take that CD case. That CD case is redeemable out at our welcome and visitors table for one of Reverend Dr. David Ault's talks, especially selected for you. We're so thrilled you can be here with us. Our next new member orientation is October the 4th, which will give you all the information you'd ever want to know about being a member at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are going to be celebrating the holiday just as you hopefully will be doing as well. So our office will be closed on that Monday, I believe that's the 7th, and we'll return back on the 8th. So you all have a beautiful and safe holiday. And before we part, or before I part, I have to say a very special happy birthday to two ladies who do so much for us. One is Nikki Murphy, who volunteers at our front desk. So happy birthday to Nikki. And she's not here because she's doing what she does best, is being with the kids, is Mary Jane Labonte. So if you see Mary Jane, wish her a happy birthday as well. Everyone have a great day and a blessed week.
Thank you. All right, stand if you would in your programs. On the inside, our declaration of principle. I'm going to invite you to read this with me. I believe in one God, one absolute power and first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all. We've had a great time with this song for this month, our last time to sing it. I'm choosing heaven today.
I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing heaven. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road.
little bit of heaven by saying hello to the people around you. All right. I do have to share this with you. When I met the group in Turkey, the tour facility from America told the tour facility in Istanbul that we were a religious order. And that our guide, her name is AJ, hi AJ, I know you're watching, was told to remove her nail polish, to remove her lipstick, and to cover her shoulders in front of me at all times. And so, when she met me in the airport, she said, "Welcome to Turkey, Father David." And I'm kidding her because not only is she one of us, she's the most fantastic woman you'd ever want to meet, but she's watching live stream. Hi, AJ from Istanbul, as well as about 30 people from the Netherlands that we taught in Geneva. So we have a huge international audience today. So welcome, welcome. As we gather our time, we go into what is called our contemplative prayer time. And I'm going to invite you to make space for that. However you feel comfortable. I always like to suggest that you open your body posture up, almost as if you are receiving a gift, because we believe that that's what we're doing. We're in our place of receivership for divine inspiration, and we are so beautifully led in our affirmative prayer this morning by Scheherazade Taylor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You guys look so good. Do you know how good you look this morning? When I came to open up the bookstore at the 9 o'clock service, I saw David. And he flashed that smile, and I said to myself, now that's what I've been missing, that Cheshire Cat smile. Welcome back, Reverend David. I'm so glad you're back. I'm glad to be back from Egypt, too. So I had a mystical experience there. And my feet have barely touched the ground, so y'all bear with me if I float. So I do want you to center yourselves. I do want you to take a trip with me. I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs from Khalil Gibran, Eastern mystic and poet. Now there was a Christian bishop in his cathedral on a stormy day, appropriate, and an unchristian woman came and stood before him, and she said, I'm not a Christian. Is there salvation for me from hellfire? And the bishop looked upon the woman, and he answered her, saying, Nay, there is no salvation for those, or there's only salvation for those who are baptized of water and the Spirit. And even as he spoke, a bolt from the sky fell with thunder upon the cathedral, and it was filled with fire. And the men of the city came running, and they saved the woman, but the bishop was consumed, food of the fire. Yes, a little bit of judgment is a real dangerous thing. And making small the divine is even more dangerous. And so I center myself. and I think about all the wonder that the divine is. This being of many names, this being of names unspeakable, this divine, all that there is, all that this universe and the next universe and the next universe is, all that the universes within my body is the divine. And I am so full of joy and happiness in knowing that I am one with all that is. I am one with the June bug. I am one with Jupiter. I am one with the firefly. And I am one with Saturn. And so how can I limit this one? How can I judge God? Because if I am one and everything else is one, there's no judgment. There's no limitation on the divine. And so right now, right here in this moment, I am a vessel of this divine spirit, and I allow, and I actually look forward to this second and the next second, and every second that the spirit fills me from the tips of my toes to the top of my head with all this wonder, all this true fire. I am so blessed. I claim my good. I claim the wonder that is. I allow myself to be a servant. I allow myself to be all of that and more. And so I speak my word into the law of good, knowing that it is. I am. I allow myself to be what I am, right here and right now. And so I release my word, which is true for me, and it is true for every single spirit in this place, and we are so filled with joy. As together we say, and so it is.
Our musical guest this morning is a resident of Madrid, Spain, and also of Atlanta, Georgia, and we're so glad she's here. She's all of 17 years old. And Victoria Canal is a recording artist as well as being very popular on the circuit now, making her way as a singer-songwriter. And I was so thrilled. I saw her open for Joan Osborne, and I said, Joan who? I was so taken by your performance and your genuine nature. She's so present when she's here, and as you will find out. Please welcome Victoria Canal.
How's everybody? Good? This first song is called Little Girl, and I wrote it basically. I have two main passions. One is music, and the other one is giving back any way that I can, because I've lived a very wonderful life and a wonderful childhood, and I'm very aware that I have a fortunate future ahead of me because I have so much love inside of me. And so I want to make sure that the way I spend my time is helping other children and young adults figure out that they have the same opportunities as well. So this song is dedicated to children who have been stuck in human trafficking or experience abuse at home or anything like that, that they think they're stuck, they don't see their own future. If you'd like to learn more about human trafficking and how to raise awareness for it, you can visit my page, Victoria Canal, on any social media, or you can go to enditmovement.com to directly learn more. So thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Little girl, why don't you answer me? Little girl, why do you cry? Well, right now you're standing next to me, and that means you're alright. Little girl, what are you doing here? It's not a place for you to play. I've seen people die here. I've seen the clouds rain every day. But who does this to you? Who makes your day a sad song? And why is it, my dear, you sing alone? Little girl, you've got so much to grow, yet there's so much for you to learn. Yes, I know it's tough not to know what the future will be like when you return. But who does this to you? Who makes your day a sad song? Is it, my dear, you sing along? Little girl, I know you like it there, and all your dreams will come true. But I'm afraid you cannot travel there. The time is just not right for you. The time is just not right for you.
Thank you so much.
Wow. You know, I said, now that we know that you're in Atlanta, we are going to keep you here. Thank you so much. Thank you. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be in alignment with the highest of truth and love today. What's so fascinating about our human experience is that sometimes that experience seems to be very, very heightened and very mystical and very profound. And then we try to articulate that. And we try to put it into the density of language, and it really does fall short. And yet, we do our best. And what I know is that the profundity of what took place for me during my travels is going to be fodder for a great many talks. And I don't even know where to begin, actually. It's just a bunch of words. But I will say this, that we have this seminal idea, and again, I know you've heard this all the time, is that everything that you need, desire, crave, hunger, pray for is inside of you. And the world offers us multiple layers of understanding and example in order to make that idea have more of a profound meaning, because it is a very intellectual idea. But to take it from the realm of intellect and to bring it down into a visceral feeling where you get at the very depth that everything that you could ever desire has already been created and is already housed within you is very personal. It's a very personal experience, and it's one that if we make, I guess I'll call an intention, to avail ourselves of that, then it will show up. Do you know what I mean by that? If you tell the universe, it is my intention to have a palpable experience of the allness of that which is creation to show up for me in ways expected and unexpected, then guess what? It will. It will. And it's as if you and I then have the opportunity to go and to meet that. And you don't necessarily have to travel across the world to have that meeting. You could have that within a conversation with someone right next to you. You could find that and have that sense of oneness. But I will say that while we were traveling, we were close to the town, the area of Ephesus. And my favorite place was not Ephesus. It was actually the Artemis Temple, which is also affectionately known as the Temple of Diana, the Greek goddess Diana. There's hardly anything left of that temple. It's just a couple of pillars and then the ruins scattered on the ground. It had been destroyed by fire and vandalism, rebuilt, destroyed by earthquake, rebuilt, destroyed by another earthquake, rebuilt. And then I think they said, okay, enough. And so they left it there. But the day that we went to walk upon the ground of the Artemis Temple or the goddess of Diana, guess what? No one else, just us. Right, Judy? Right, Sarah? We went there, and it was the most magnificent feeling to be able to walk into the extreme feminine energy that surrounded that place. And so when AJ, our guide, told us the history of that, we had the luxury of about 20, 25 minutes to scatter all by ourselves, go find our little cubby hole, and to sit and to meditate. So I walked right adjacent to the main part of the ruins to a chapel that had been built in the early part of the 2nd century AD, much newer than the original temple. And I went into the ruins of this particular chapel, and there was an alcove that you will see a lot where they would put the oil lamps for lighting. So I hoisted myself up in that alcove, and I crossed my legs like a good little meditator. And I sat there, and I asked this question. I said, what do you want me to know? Now, let me clarify. When we ask a question like, what is it that you want me to know, who are we asking? Because we think that we're asking something sometimes, if we're not aware, of some deity, some outside force, some outside influence. But what we're really saying is when you pose that question and you say, what is it that you want me to know? What you're doing is you're tapping into an inherent internal infinite pool of wisdom that is housed in you. Not outside of you, but in you. You're tapping into that universal subjective which realizes that everything has been created. That what you and I do is we access at the level of our consciousness, at the level of our willingness, at the level of our awareness, at the level of our convictions and our chronic habitual devotion to that relationship, to that internal wisdom. And so I sat there and I said, what is it that you want me to know? And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, the word vision pops into my head. And it said, everything that you have been taught, or everything that stories tell you about a vision, you know, the main beautiful biblical characters that had a vision, or the Carmelite nun that had a vision, or this person in historical stories that had a vision. All of those things that you've read about a vision are not true. And I go, tell me more. And it said, because when you read those stories, how are those stories narrated? As if some external thing came and interfered or saved or interrupted that particular person's experience. And it goes, it's not that at all. When the person who has that vision, that culmination of a paradigm shift, that intervention from what seems to be some kind of celestial event, when that occurs within the individual, it's really the individual who has allowed the most opened sense of personal permission to tap into the most desired state and wanting in their life without any inhibition or resistance whatsoever. In other words, the thing that the person craves, you know, the general that goes into meditation and prayer to try to find how to free its people, give me a vision, give me guidance. When the spiritual teacher or philosopher says, give me a vision to know what it is that I must do for my people. Really, the answer was not outside of them. The answer was already in them. And what they've done is they've created within their own psyche an opportunity to allow what it is that they already know to finally, through flugelhorns, be sounded out in order for them to be able to listen. Does that make sense? In other words, it's not an external experience. It's something that's birthed from the deepest of the deepest of the deepest of internal permission. And so when I sat there and I went, it makes perfect sense. I sat in that alcove and I said, well, of course. That is so in alignment with the philosophical path that each of us in here have chosen. Because when we say that it is already within us, when we say that everything is God, that which is creation, that which is already in existence is already fully present in us, waiting. It's waiting for our recognition. It's waiting for our accessibility. And I went, oh, okay, got it. So piece number one, vision does not come from some external energy force. It comes from a deep-rooted internal permission. So that was piece number one. Piece number two was we later went the next day to the big ruins of Ephesus. You know, Ephesus plays very integral in the early days of Christianity. In fact, St. Paul gathered there to try to convert the Roman community. And when he walked out into the big Colosseum, they allowed him, they were going to give him just a few moments to be able to speak to the masses. And so when St. Paul hung up his cell phone, he got into, that entryway. He said, I'll call you back, I'm about to speak. So there's a doorway that walks out into the platform, and if you know Ephesus, if you've been there, it seats like 25,000 people. That's the arena. And so you can imagine he walked out, and as he walked out, before he even spoke, he was heckled by one of the Roman soldiers. And you know how it is when somebody heckles, then that gives permission for other people to heckle. And all of a sudden, 25,000 people are heckling St. Paul in the middle of it. So I decided I would stand in the doorway, and I would also stand there and try to get a sense of that and the feel of that. And then he was ushered out, where he was later imprisoned, and that's where he wrote the book of Ephesians, Ephesus, to those people. And but as we were walking around, it dawned on me that when you and I take these kinds of tours, when we see the world and when we go to these majestic ruins, every single time I go to Cambodia and I take people and I show them the spiritual temple complex known as Angkor Wat, everybody's jaw drops. And I go, do you realize who actually did the labor? So it wasn't the emperor, it wasn't those who were in governmental positions, it wasn't even necessarily the heads of state or the intelligentsia that ruled those communities. The ones who actually did the work in all of the ruins and all of the temples and all of the sacred sites and all of the wonders of the world, who actually did the work? The slaves, those who were oppressed. Those who, in those particular caste systems, were told what to do. And it dawned on me that the things that we admire in present day were actually created by a mass field of individuals who lived in marginal existences. And it wasn't anything to do with the leaders. It had everything to do with the common man, the common woman, the person who had to do all of those things. And so I thought about that universal oppression. Then as we were walking, there was this big, long marble wall down one of the roadways. And in that marble wall, there were holes that were chiseled where shackles for wrists were there. And if you were caught for a crime, you were shackled. Your arms were shackled, and you had to stand in the heat all day long naked while all of those who lived in Ephesus would walk down the boulevard and they would spit upon you. And they would ridicule you for being a thief. You could have just stolen a piece of bread and you would have been shackled. And if your crime was particularly heinous, they would pour honey on you so that all of the bugs and the flies would eat at you while you were humiliated and you had to prostrate yourself in front of all those individuals. And I thought about that feeling of what it must be like to feel so shamed, and the universal connectivity of that feeling, which is prevalent in all times and in all civilizations. So there's oppression, and then there's shame. And then with the oppression part, Ephesus is prized for having some of the first latrines that were ever experienced. And when it was cold, you could actually send your servant to go and sit on the latrine outside to warm it up before it was time to go. So I sat on that latrine. So you're starting to see that this commonality of the way in which man's relationship to man throughout all civilizations have existed. And then yet, amongst even those most base, most dark times, there were those who were visionaries. There were those who were wise counsel. There were those who were compassionate. There were those who possessed a level of wisdom. And so whether it was Socrates or whether it was Aristotle or who it was in those particular lineages, they would have their mystery schools. And they would begin to gather, and anyone that would listen, they would disseminate this information to them in hopes that whatever it was that they learned about ancient wisdom, whatever it was that they learned from a philosophical standpoint that would uplift them and upgrade their lives, that they would implement that and they would begin to feel that sense, even though most of those times there's such great danger. And so when I thought about the feeling, not the circumstance per se, but the feeling of oppression, the feeling of shame, the feeling of wisdom, the feeling of, even in those times of being a person or a wise counsel that had vision, that those universal feelings that existed back then still exist today. And so that was piece number 2. And then when we were in a city called Ankara and we went into a museum, some of the very first recorded clay tablets, and some of the pieces were no bigger than this, and they had all these little etchings and carvings on there. And it was some of the first communication with regards to debt paying, and with regards to records and the code of Hammurabi, which is the Babylonian law code, which dates back to ancient Mesopotamia. We're talking like 2000 BC. Were on these little pieces of clay, and which told about all of those civilizations, and that's where the whole eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth came from. It's etched into these little tiny pieces of clay, and you start to see the way in which people and related to one another, and how there were people who were opulent and there were people who were in debt, and there were people who struggled and there were people who succeeded. And you start again to see the commonality of what it is that we share. And so I started to think about time and the fact that we often look at all of that. I'm walking around something and I'm labeling it as ancient, meaning it happened when? In the past. But what if now we take these pieces where vision and the revelation that comes with vision is not from an external force, it's inside of us, piece number one, coupled with the emotionality that has been common and prevalent within all sentient beings, piece number two, and you weave that with piece number three, which is that time is multidimensional. It's not past, present, and future, that it's all happening at the same time. That's when, if you really want to sit with that, your brain goes, poof. Because it means then that the emotionality of the person who is shackled, the shame that is being experienced within that individual, is a universal shame, which you and I then are tapping into in what we think is present day. But it's not a new thing. It's not something that has only erupted and solely been compartmentalized for you. It's a universal shame. How many of you have felt shame before, right? And so that is a very ancient, a very universal, a very long-standing emotion that stems from choice. However, if I was the person that was shackled, I probably did not have the consciousness to realize that I was at choice with the way in which I was feeling. But in this experience, this thing that I'm calling present, I have stumbled upon this philosophy that tells me that I'm at choice. So I have a choice whether or not to feel shame or not, correct? And then there's going to be this thing called the future. And if something happens in the future and I choose to adopt the emotion and the feeling of shame, then that too is a part of my choice. So the way that I wanted to show you this is through show and tell. So I need some volunteers. Deanna, will you come? Because you have a nice forehead. So you're going to play the role of victim. Today playing the role of victim is Deanna Fleener. So come here. So when something happened in the past, it's where in the timeline? You know, let's say this is the timeline. So being a victim in the past is being played by the role of Deanna. All right. So you stay right there. Don't move. All right. So oppression. Let's see. Lee Valentine, you look good with this on. So come on up. You got a nice forehead. So how many of you have felt oppressed before? Marginalized, not, and that could be something that happened in your past, because a lot of these things, you're going to stand next to the lovely Deanna. All right. Oh, I've always wanted to do this to you. All right. So these particular things, being a victim and being oppressed, everyone can relate to this in some way, right? And when did it happen? In your what? In your past. Oh, really? But you think that is, so we'll just go with that for right now. How many of you have surprised yourself with a new level of wisdom? Aaron, come on up. I'm looking for people with foreheads. All right. Yeah, you got that little hair business going down. All right, well, I'll tape it up. All right, so come over here. So, you've had these experiences, right? But your consciousness has done what? It has expanded. Somehow you found a book, or you found a teacher, or you found a center, or you found something that went, and it stirred within you new information, or you thought it was new information. Really, it was an internal wisdom that had what? always been there. But we still think that we are moving in this timeline from victim, oppression to wisdom. And then we become a person with vision. So Kevin Biachi, come on up. You're going to have to take that hat off, though, because you got a really great forehead. All right. Yeah, look at that forehead. All right. So then when you become a person of vision, you think that that is something that you have actually grown into, right? That you've had to develop. Like you've had to move from this diminished level of consciousness to this expanded sense of consciousness. And that's the way in which we look at time. That's the way in which we describe our human journey. That's the way in which you and I walk and deal and relate and narrate our world. But guess what? Even when you are a person with vision, and I'm going to just make the assumption that you are all persons of vision, there are times when something happens and you decide that you are what? A victim. And so instead of it being timeline, now it's just multidimensional. And so Kevin's gone around and he said, I'm going to take some of that. And so he takes that and he just overlays his wisdom with a little bit of victimization. When in actuality, this is, well, it is this, but for the sake of this illustration, they're like this. Look at that. So even though he's a person of vision, he has what in a particular circumstance? Aligned himself with what? The victim. And the same holds true when you feel like you are misunderstood or that you have been marginalized in some way. It's not that that's a new idea. It's that you have gone in and you have accepted this and you have aligned yourself with this and, ooh, that's a facial. So, thank you. And so we moved this visionary person now up here. We let go of that for a second. And we move the oppression and we put the victimization all in a straight line like this. And so what he's done is done what? He's choosing, I'm sorry, all the follicles off of Lee's face came with this. So, but he's actually chosen this. Now his visionary, the true part of you is still where? It's here. It's still here. But these things have become choices. And all along, this idea of wisdom has been in alignment with this. This is what time is. It's multidimensional. It's not linear. Do you get it? So when I'm sitting there in that temple and it's saying the vision or the wisdom did not come from some external circumstance, it's something that you chose. You chose in any given circumstance. The experience of being a victim is not something from an external circumstance. It's what? Something we chose. The experience of oppression is not something that really was directed fully from an external circumstance. It's that my consciousness of oppression was what? It's all that I knew. So you can say that it was chosen. So thank you so much. Thank you. Give all of our folks a hand. Thank you, guys. So what am I saying? Because this is not easily digestible to the common person. Because what we're saying is that we are at choice all the time. Even the person who was shackled during the Roman era and the wall had a choice to do what? To think something different, but that person or persons probably did not have the consciousness to realize that they were at that level of choice. One of the greatest figures who showed us this was Viktor Frankl. If you know who Viktor Frankl was, during Nazi Germany, he and his entire family were taken to concentration camps. He watched his entire family die and be tortured in front of him. And the realization that came to Viktor Frankl in that experience was, yes, humanity can do all kinds of physical things to me, but the one thing they cannot do is what? They cannot make me think something that I will not choose to think. And that one seminal understanding changed the landscape of psychology and the psyche of us as individuals, as spiritual beings having a human experience. That it doesn't matter what happens to me at the level of the physical, that the one thing that cannot be overpowered or manipulated is my ability to choose my thought in that moment. And so, this experience that you're having now in this multidimensional thing that we call time is a point in time where you understand choice. You understand it. Now, whether or not you and I implement it and create choices that are visionary, that access our wisdom, that are choices of opulence and beauty, whether we do that or not is entirely up to us. But if I don't make another choice, if what I do is stay in a heritage of oppression, then what am I masterfully creating for myself? More oppression. If I do not change my allegiance with being a victim, then what am I historically creating for myself and overlaying time and time again? More experiences of victimization. And so the thing about the multidimensionality, the quantum field of understanding, the idea of vision, tells us that everything has already been created. I was teaching this in Geneva, and surprisingly, I had a colleague who works in the Ukraine say to me, "What? What do you mean everything's already been created?" And I said, words from Ernest Holmes. Hello. And I said, not just Ernest Holmes, but Neville Goddard and any other philosopher that teaches us that creation in and of itself is finished. What does that mean? That means that which is visionary already resides in you. That means that the choice of victimization resides in all of us. That means that freedom exists already inside of you. That means that anything that is choice already is there. And so you are at choice. You are at choice. And when we come to fully understand that, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where we stop just entertaining this idea and actually becoming a vessel of that idea. That's where we prove the principle that you are infinite potentiality based upon your choice, based upon consciousness, based upon understanding these things. One of the greatest pieces that our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote is found in the back of the large textbook, The Science of Mind. And there's a whole series of kind of divine little poems in the back, little prayer treatments that he wrote. And one is called, I Keep the Promise. And if you have the book and you want to refer to it, it's on page 517. But he says, I shall keep the promise that I have made to myself. I shall keep the promise that I have made to myself. When did you make the promise to yourself? What was it? What part of you made the promise to yourself? The soul part of you said, if I'm going to come and I'm going to have this experience called humanity, then the soul part of you made a promise to you, the vessel, the instrument, that you would avail yourself to the highest level of consciousness, the highest level of being teachable, in order that you might come and live this life at its most optimum, at its most maximum. That you would prove the principle, that you would override your sense of limitation, that you would rise above your victimization and your senses of shame and all of those things that you and I have labeled as marginalized within us. We had a promise. You see, the primordial soul purity part of you and I made a promise that we would come and we would use this time to work on that. He says, I shall keep that promise. I shall keep the promise that I have made to myself. I shall never again tell myself that I am poor, sick, weak, nor unhappy. How are you living up to that promise so far? I shall never again tell myself that I am those things. Why? Because whatever follows I am becomes our heritage. So if I think of myself linearly in time as being this victim, and I have not accessed the consciousness or the promise that my soul made, if I'm living unconsciously, not only am I breaking my promise, but I am creating a false identity for me. I shall never again tell myself that I'm poor, sick, weak, nor unhappy. I shall not lie to myself anymore, but shall daily speak the truth to my inner soul, telling it that it is wonderful, that it is marvelous, that it is the one with the great cause of all life, truth, power, and action. I shall whisper these things into my soul until it breaks forth into songs of joy with the realization of its limitless possibilities. That's our promise. And so you see, when I talk about not having enough, when I self-identify with life as unfair, when I classify myself as not being good enough, I am breaking my promise. I am breaking the soul contract that I made to come and experience this life full tilt boogie. And that's an old Mesopotamian term that was found in one of those clay tablets. So do you get it? So piece number one, vision isn't external. It's a permission that you give to yourself to the most heightened desire that you think is possible for you, the thing that you crave the most. When you say yes to that, it's like, it just came out of the blue. How many of you have said, it just came out of the blue? No, it didn't come out of the blue. It came out of you. Number two, there have been master-slave, there have been governing councils and peasants, there have been tradesmen and uneducated, there have been archetypes of those types of labels throughout all human history. We've played every single one of them, and you are at choice to what feeling nature you still decide to hold on to. And number three, time is multidimensional. And so the part that I loved, because the thing that is so exciting for me is the whole topic of revisioning my past. You know, the things that took place that are my professional wounds that we all like to showcase and say, oh, this is what happened to me right here, right? You know, and so to go back and to revision those things, to revision them, meaning to overlay them with an entirely different sensibility and feeling nature, so that those things have resolution, so that those things have solution in them, so that we no longer self-identify with that. To think about that is to understand that, yes, it's possible because the past is not finished because there's no past. So I can go back now in the multidimensional understanding of time, and I can say, all right, that which was just so painful, I revision now in my mind, and I lace it and I encompass it with sweetness and an understanding and a divinity and a sense of grace that I am changed at depth. And then I get to envision whatever it is that I want in the future, realizing that that too has already been created for myself. And I go, oh my God, I am the chief architect and the designer of my life. Not just in the now, but in the past and the future as well. Because it's all together. And that's all I got to say. Thank you. And I'm going to do the offering too, because I'm a hog. So, offering. This is what I love. This is what's so cool about learning how to become unattached. How many of you can faithfully say that you are unattached? Right? I knew it. All right, so while I was away, our offerings were very low, historically low, causing a resurgence of panic to go through all of the staff and all of the strategic templates of budgets and whatnot. And what I know is, and this is one of the beautiful things about traveling, is when you look at all of that stuff, you just go, isn't it funny? 100 years from now, what's going to happen? All new people, right? I love that. 100 years from now, all new people. And so whether this place that we call our spiritual home exists or not is irrelevant. Because the truth of the matter is, your life will go on, your soul will evolve, everything will self-regulate, because that's the beauty and the nature of the universe. However, if you love this, if this means something to you, then you and I have an opportunity to do something about that, don't we? And that is to support it. And if one of my old ideas is that I can't, or my gift is insignificant, then you're missing the point. Because no gift is insignificant. It's about the intention of the gift. And when you collect multiple intentions that say, I love this place, then that intention is unstoppable. But when you think, or I think, that I'm not a part of it because it doesn't have anything to do with me, that's where the chinks in the chain begin to get loosey-goosey. And so we've had some little loosey-goosey stuff. And you and I have the opportunity, because what I realize and know is that the whole issue could be solved in this room right now. So dive into your purses and to your wallets, and ushers, come forward. If you look at your affirmation for grateful giving, what I want you to do is, as you look at that, I want you to say it from that place of deep reverence and meaning. And join me. You ready? I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly, and so it is. All right.
And so it is.
There you go.
So as our offering plates are going around, I want you to also welcome the wonderful musician, and she's also in academic honors at the Bern, Switzerland, taking high school studies there, and she's just quite a champion of that. And her father's also here with her, so we appreciate you giving a chauffeur to her today. Please welcome again Victoria Canal.
Hi again. Thank you. She's so wonderful, Penelope. The moment I met you, I knew that you were a wonderful spirit and a wonderful human being. So thank you for inviting me here. And yeah, I'm so happy to be part of this. So this song is called Not Afraid. Some things just aren't meant to be. Yeah. That's not the case when it comes to you and me, babe. Now, I'm sure wasting time is just a myth, yeah. Oh, yeah. 'cause it's not wasting time at all if it's you I am with. Na, na, na. Oh yeah, say baby. I'm not afraid to take a stand on how much I love you, on how much I care. I'm not afraid to take a chance on losing you, baby, 'cause I know I can't. I'm not afraid, no. Oh, I'm not afraid, no. Your kiss is like a glass of wine. Not that I drink wine. Light from the side, but only gets better with time. And I feel closer than ever before. I'm not afraid to take a stand on how much I love you, on how much I can. I'm not afraid to take a chance on losing you, baby, 'cause I know I can't. I'm not afraid to chase the limit, to tear myself down. Upon the olden days, I promise I won't run away. Someone like you by my side, nothing you'll ever seen. And imagine like a really cool guitar solo here. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Oh, I promise I won't be afraid. Thank you so much.
I want you to buy every single thing that she has so that you know how much we appreciate and just are in awe of you. Thank you. I'm going to invite our practitioners to come forward. They're going to line up here. I want you to look at them. I want you to look at them. I want you to see the beauty and the radiance and their mission. And their mission is to remind you that you are a choice. to remind you of the higher ideal of who you are. And now as you stand, as we sing our closing song, I'm going to excuse them. They're going to go upstairs and wait for you to do affirmative prayer. And let's sing our closing song together.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We love you so much. Have a great weekend, everybody.